Hey guys, today we're going to be taking and working on a nameplate. And a nameplate is going to be your guys' second assignment. So what I'm going to do here is just draw a rectangle, and we're just going to come up here and adjust the dimensions. And I'm just going to go with like 2 inches by 13 inches. That seems pretty reasonable. You may need to adjust it a little bit for you, but depending on what name you want to use. Now what I'm doing here is I'm just dragging this down and putting it right here at 0, 0. And you can see that I'm getting those pink lines. It specifies that I am right there on the edge. From this, what I want to do is to take and start actually using some letters. So I'm going to click on my letters. Click on the first one here, and I'm just going to take and draw a box. Now, the size of the box isn't too relevant. I just like to have a large box to work with, and then we'll fill it with whatever type we need. Up here, we have all of our various fonts. I don't know how many fonts there are on the computer that you happen to be using, but on mine, there is several thousand. And you guys are welcome to use really whatever font you want, but I will tell you that the fancier your font is, the more difficult it is to actually cut it. What we're going to be doing here is I'm just going to use Arial. I think it's Arial Black, I think is what this is. And I'm just going to take and do Mr. Reese. That seems pretty reasonable. Now if I just click somewhere out here, you can see it just kind of takes my lettering back to just an object, I guess. But if I double click on this, I can come back in here and re-edit stuff. I want to take something out, or if I want to take and put something else in, or really whatever I want, I can do that. Now once I'm happy with it, click outside here. What I want to do is just click and select it. Then what we're going to do here is go up to Arrange. And let me tell you guys, this is very important here, so make sure you do this. If not, it will not work. You need to go Text to Graphics. Once we click on this, these ones here become individual graphics, and they're no longer editable text. I don't want to take these and, get them out of alignment, as that's not ideal. What we're going to do here is undo. Select all of these. We're going to go up to Layout, and we're going to group all of those together. By grouping everything together, it doesn't matter where I click on this. Oops. It doesn't matter where I click on these, it all selects the same. So even though these are individual objects, they're all together. Now, I'm just going to take this and move these down and get it here pretty close to my actual rectangle. And what I'm going to do here is just have these letters already selected. Shift, click the rectangle. Then I'm going to go up here to Layout, Arrange, Distribute, Line to Last Object, and I'm going to center them vertically. Now that I have this, I want to take and put some cutouts right here on our rectangle. This is going to allow it to bend, and these bends in here are going to make it so it stands on its own. So instead of being a flat object, it'll be a 3-dimensional object. So what we're going to do here is grab another rectangle. We're going to make one, and I'm just going to go with like 1/8 of an inch. 1/8 of an inch is 0.125. And then I'm going to make this about 1 inch long. That's pretty reasonable. Now I'm going to take off my shading here, the show fill. Remember guys, that's right here, Alt S is what I'm doing. But I'm going to use that. I'm going to put one about here. And then I'm going to go Control D, duplicate. Control D again. Control D. Control D. Control D. And there we go. These little objects are nowhere even close to in line with each other, and I need them to be perfectly in line. So what I want to show you guys is how to use guidelines. So with nothing selected, okay, see this to be selected? We don't want any of that. We want it not selected. What I'm going to do is simply right click with the mouse, and it'll pull up the Edit Guides menu here. Now I would definitely suggest that you guys click the Lock Guides button. It will help you guys out tremendously. Now with this, we have guides that are horizontal, we have guides that are vertical, and we have guides that are wherever we want them to be. So we're going to be doing a horizontal for starters. Now for me, what I want to do is put these all about right here. So I'm going to specify a guide at about 1.5 inches. Then I want to take and do some vertical pieces as well, some vertical guides. And I want to have one here at 1 inch. I'm going to type in 1, add it. Then I'm going to do it at 3 inches. And hopefully you guys can see the pattern here. And there we go. We'll hit OK. And what we can do here is simply zoom in to one of these little rectangles. And what I'm going to do is just move it down and move it over until I get the purple, kind of purplish line, I guess. Pinkish line? Either or. Where it highlights it right there on the edges. And then I know that that one's straight on the lines. And then I can come over and do the next one. And I can keep going. All the way down. Look at that. Now all of my little tiny rectangles are in alignment. But what I can do here is take and select these. Now I'm going to take and show the fill again. Remember, Alt S. And then we can see where those little ones are. Now remember, if I click somewhere else, I don't have anything selected, I can't see anything. So it all just looks like one big rectangle. But if I highlight those rectangles, I come up here to Arrange, and I can make a path. When I click Make Path, it'll take and pop out those little holes on the end of it. Now what we can do with this is that we have all of those holes in alignment. We can now bend on that line and basically make this thing stand up. The real last thing we need to do is put our letters in. So I've selected our letters, and then what I like to do is just use the use the keyboard and just gently bring these in until they just start to overlap. Now when they just start to overlap, I'm going to go Shift and then click on that. Zoom in here a little bit. You can see they overlap just a little bit. Just like that. And then I'm going to come over here to our weld. We're going to click this and we're going to do a basic weld. And a basic weld means bam, there we go. All of these objects are now welded together. They are all now one object. All right, there we go. Now, when you guys take and make one of these, you don't have to make one that says Mr. Reese. That is not a requirement. You're welcome to put whatever name or words or anything that you want in here, as long as it's school appropriate. But do not forget that before you turn this in, you're going to need to select it, and we need to do a toolpath on here as well. Now this is a male object. Do 3-inch, plasma, climbing, sharp. Our lead in, we'll do an arc. Do 120 because I like that. We're going to hit OK. Now it's going to pop up with this little warning. And what this is saying here is that, yeah, it can do the lead ins and the lead out and anything else you put on it around the outside and maybe in here. But what it's saying here is that these little lines in here, they're too small to handle a lead in or lead out or any of that. So they have to just start right on the line. I'm perfectly fine with that, so I'm just going to hit OK. Now we have all of our various object and tool paths and such all on top of each other. You can see it's kind of a double layer. So what we're going to do is go up to our buttons here, show tool paths only, highlight. We're going to just drag this over, somewhere right there. Then we're going to show everything. Remember guys, this right here is how you are going to want to turn in this assignment. Is it has to have both the object and the toolpath together on the file. Now we can take a look at this. Everything looks good, exactly where I wanted it to be. We can look, we can see my lead-ins look good. You know what, I don't really want to lead in up there, so let's double click this. Yep. I want my lead in on the outside not to be here. I want it to be down in this corner. So we're going to do it there. So yeah, now instead of here, it's down there. Looking at the other ones, looks fine. I don't really like how these E's are. I'm going to take these E's and just move these lead ins here a little bit to the center. There we go. Remember, there's no lead ins on these little cutouts. Apply. There we go. That looks pretty good to me. So I'm going to do the same. I'm going to go File, Save As. I have done several of these at this point. So we're going to say Mr. Reese 3. Save. And remember guys, we're going to take and go into our 2122 welding files drive here. Make sure that you take and click on the appropriate folder for you, not necessarily my folder. Please do not store all of your files into my folder. And then we're going to take and upload these. Let me pull it up here off screen. There it is. Drag and drop. And there we go, guys. I've got my EDU file right in here. Remember, guys, this right here is where you're going to turn in these assignments. So make sure you take and submit this file right in here into your folder, not mine. And we should be good. All right, guys. We'll see you for the next one.